I played back the hidden camera footage. My mother-in-law appeared on the screen. 2 in the morning. She opened my son's bedroom door and quietly slipped inside. She approached my son's bed and took something out. At that moment, I stopped the video. My hands were shaking, and I couldn't watch anymore. I need to call the police. Just as I thought that, I heard my son's voice. Mom, where's Grandma? I couldn't answer. It had all started 3 months earlier. My mother-in-law Gloria called right after I'd been assigned a major project at work. She wanted to move in with us so she could help take care of her grandson. I worked full-time, and my husband Ryan was often away on business trips for his sales job. To be honest, taking care of 6-year-old Ethan by myself was pushing my limits. After-school daycare was expensive, and Ethan had a hard time adjusting to new environments. Ryan welcomed his mother's offer enthusiastically. I had no reason to refuse. Well, actually, I did have some reservations. Gloria and I had always kept our distance. We saw each other at Thanksgiving and Christmas, but we'd never had any real conversations. But I told myself it was for my son's sake. The first week after Gloria moved in was like magic. When I came home, dinner was ready and Ethan had finished his homework. The living room was tidy, the laundry was folded. Gloria took Ethan to and from school every day, took him to the park to play, and read him picture books. On the surface, she was the perfect grandmother. But gradually, something started to bother me. Gloria would have long conversations with Ryan every night, but with me, she only discussed the bare necessities. Even at dinner, Gloria's gaze was always fixed on Ryan. When I tried to talk to her, all I got were short replies. Sometimes I felt like I was a guest in my own home. Still, I put up with it. Gloria was taking good care of my son. I thought that was enough. The turning point came one night. When I went to tuck Ethan into bed, my son looked frightened. Usually he'd cheerfully ask for a goodnight kiss, but that night he'd pulled the covers up to his chin and curled his small body into a ball. What's wrong, Ethan? I placed my hand on his forehead. No fever. Mom, Ethan said in a small voice. Grandma comes at night. What are you talking about? Grandma's sleeping in the next room. Ethan shook his head. No. She comes after I'm asleep. My son's voice trembled. I hear the door opening. And then she comes near my bed and just stares at me. Something cold ran through my chest. I wanted to believe it was a child's imagination. But Ethan's eyes were serious. Maybe you had a scary dream, I said as gently as I could. It's not a dream, Mom. It's real. That night, I couldn't sleep. Next to Ryan, who was breathing peacefully, I stared at the ceiling. Gloria coming into my son's room in the middle of the night. Could that really be happening? But if it was, why? The next morning, as Ethan was getting dressed, I casually looked at his body. And I found a small bruise on his left arm. 2 blue-purple oval marks, side by side. Ethan, what happened here? My son looked at his arm and tilted his head. I don't know. Did you bump into something at school? Did you fall? Ethan furrowed his brow as if thinking, but finally answered, I don't remember. Suspicion took root in my heart. Children sometimes forget when they bump into things. That's normal. But considering Ethan's words from last night, this bruise didn't seem like a mere coincidence. That day, I couldn't concentrate at work. My co-worker Diane came over looking concerned. Diane was an experienced woman who'd raised 3 children. "Nicole, is something wrong? You look pale." I hesitated, but ended up telling her everything. About Gloria, Ethan's words, the bruise on his arm. As I talked, I realized how much anxiety I'd been carrying. Diane listened with a serious expression, but when I finished, she said quietly, "What if you installed a hidden camera?" "But that would be like," I hesitated. "Like I'm suspecting Gloria." "You're just trying to protect your son. If nothing's going on, then you can feel relieved. But if something is," Diane squeezed my hand. "You can't say you didn't know." On my way home that day, I stopped at an electronics store. As I picked up a small security camera and headed to the register, my chest ached with guilt. But Diane's words wouldn't leave my mind. "You can't say you didn't know." That night, it was fortunate that Ryan was away on a business trip. While Ethan was at school, I installed the camera in his room. Behind the bookshelf, in the shadow of a stuffed animal. I chose a position where no one would notice. My hands were shaking. I didn't know if what I was doing was really right. But I remembered Ethan's frightened face. I remembered the bruise on his arm. As a mother, I had to protect my son. That night, I woke up several times. Every time I looked at the clock, I worried whether Ethan's door was opening. But I heard nothing. In the morning, I dragged my exhausted body out of bed. While Ethan and Gloria were eating breakfast, I opened the app on my smartphone in my room. I checked the camera footage. Fast-forwarding through the nighttime hours. And then, at 2:07 a.m., the screen moved. The door slowly opened. Gloria came in. Wearing a white nightgown, she entered the room as quietly as a ghost. My heart started pounding. Gloria approached Ethan's bed. She stared at my sleeping son's face. Then she took something out. A handkerchief. Gloria was wiping her face with it. Her shoulders were trembling slightly. Was she crying? But to me, the scene looked somehow strange. Why would she come into her grandson's room at 2 a.m.? Why was she crying? Was she doing something to Ethan? I watched the footage over and over. Gloria stood by the bed for a while longer, then quietly left the room. I had evidence. But evidence of what, I didn't know. The night Ryan returned from his business trip, I showed him the footage. "Your mother's been going into Ethan's room in the middle of the night. Look." Ryan looked at the screen but immediately frowned. "So what? What's wrong with my mother checking on her grandson?" But Ethan's scared. And he had a bruise on his arm. Kids get bruises all the time. Are you seriously suspecting my mother? I'm not suspecting her. But something's not right. Why in the middle of the night? Ryan ran his fingers through his hair in irritation. You're being paranoid. My mother would never hurt Ethan. Do you realize how much she's helping us? But enough. If you say anything disrespectful to my mother, I won't forgive you. Ryan left those words behind and walked out of the living room. I was left alone, staring at my smartphone screen. In the footage, Gloria was standing by my son's bed again tonight. My husband wasn't on my side. Diane's words echoed in my head. You can't say you didn't know. I made up my mind. Tomorrow, I'd ask Gloria directly. Even if Ryan got angry, even if it destroyed our family relationships, protecting my son was the top priority. That night, I looked in on Ethan's room. My son was sleeping peacefully. I gently kissed his forehead. Mommy will protect you, I whispered softly. Ethan rolled over but didn't wake up. I went out into the hallway and looked at Gloria's door. Behind the closed door, what was Gloria thinking? Why did she go to her grandson's room in the middle of the night? I was afraid to know the answer. But I had to know. As a mother, I had that responsibility. Tomorrow, everything would become clear. I told myself that and returned to my room. The next morning, after Ryan left for work and Ethan went to school, Gloria and I were alone. As I stared at Gloria's back as she washed dishes in the kitchen, I took a deep breath. My heart was racing. Gloria. She turned around. Her usual calm expression. Yes, Nicole. We need to talk. Could you please sit down? Gloria dried her hands and sat at the dining table. I sat across from her. Tension crackled between us. What are you doing in Ethan's room in the middle of the night? Gloria's face stiffened for a moment. But she quickly put on a puzzled expression. What do you mean? I sleep in my own room. Don't lie to me. I took out my smartphone. Look at this. I played the video. Gloria's image on the screen. At 2 a.m., going into Ethan's room. Approaching the bed. Everything was recorded. Gloria stared at the screen, then fell silent. The color drained from her face. This is, Gloria's voice trembled. What is this? I raised my voice. Why do you go into my son's room in the middle of the night? Ethan's scared. And he had a bruise on his arm. A bruise? Gloria looked up. That bruise was. What about that bruise? Did you make it? No. Gloria shook her head. That bruise wasn't me. Then who was it? We're the only ones in this house. Gloria started to say something, then closed her mouth. That silence irritated me even more. Answer me. What are you doing to my son? Nothing. I just. Gloria lowered her eyes. She didn't answer. Something inside me snapped. I've had enough. I stood up. Please leave this house. Nicole, please. Gloria reached out her hand. Listen to me. I've listened. But you won't explain anything. If I can't protect my son, I've failed as a mother. At that moment, the front door opened. Ryan had come back. He'd forgotten some documents, he said. He sensed the hostile atmosphere and frowned. What's going on? I've asked your mother to leave. Ryan's face flushed red. What? She's been going into Ethan's room in the middle of the night. She won't explain. I can't take it anymore. Are you serious? Ryan shouted. Throwing my mother out. To protect Ethan. Protect him from my mother. Are you out of your mind? You're the one who's out of your mind. Is your mother more important than your own son? Of course. My mother hasn't done anything wrong. I'm not dealing with your paranoia. We argued fiercely. Gloria remained seated in her chair, just listening in silence. Her expression was filled with sadness. That's it. Ryan spat out the words. I can't stay with a woman like you. I want a divorce. Those words pierced my chest. But I didn't flinch. Fine. But I'm raising Ethan. We'll see about that. Ryan laughed coldly. Do you think the courts will give custody to a paranoid mother like you? He left those words behind and left the house again. The sound of the door slamming echoed. Only Gloria and I remained. Silence pressed down heavily. Gloria slowly stood up. Nicole, Gloria's voice was quiet. You're right. I should leave. I'll pack my things and be gone tomorrow. Without looking at me, Gloria said that and headed to her room. Her back looked small. I couldn't say anything. Was this the right thing to do? I didn't know. But to protect Ethan, this was all I could do. That's what I told myself. The next morning, Gloria was quietly packing her things. When Ethan came home from school and saw the suitcase at the entrance, he started crying. Grandma, where are you going? Gloria hugged Ethan. Grandma's going away for a while. No. Don't go. Ethan clung to Gloria. Grandma, don't go. Ethan, tears welled up in Gloria's eyes. Grandma will always watch over you. Wherever I am, I'll always be thinking of you. But be a good boy. Listen to Mommy. Gloria stroked Ethan's head. Her hand was trembling. As I watched the scene, my chest felt like it was being squeezed. A taxi arrived. Gloria hugged Ethan one last time and stood up. Our eyes met. Nicole, there was something I wanted to tell you. But, Gloria cut off her words. It's too late now. Protect Ethan. Please. Gloria said that and got into the taxi. Ethan tried to chase after it crying, but I held him back. We watched the taxi drive away. That night, Ethan cried himself to sleep. I sat by my son's bed, holding his small hand. Mom, is Grandma not coming back? No. Not even at night. Not at night either. Ethan shed fresh tears. I hugged my son. This was the right thing. I'd protected my son. That's what I told myself. But my heart felt empty, as if I'd lost something precious. Gloria's last words wouldn't leave my mind. There was something I wanted to tell you. What had it been? When I returned to the living room, the chair Gloria had sat in was empty. In the kitchen, the apron she'd used was still hanging there. Everything was quiet and lonely. A week passed. The house was quiet. Too quiet, it felt suffocating. Ethan stopped smiling like he used to. Ryan hardly came home anymore. When he did come home, he wouldn't speak to me, just talk to Ethan a little and then shut himself in the bedroom. I questioned my decision every day. But I couldn't find an answer. That afternoon, while I was at work, my cell phone rang. An unknown number. Hello? Is this Mrs. Nicole Miller? This is St. Mary's Hospital. My heart nearly stopped. Mrs. Gloria Miller has been brought in by ambulance. Could you come as family? I left work early and rushed to the hospital. The receptionist directed me to the waiting room outside the intensive care unit. Ryan wasn't there yet. I called his cell phone over and over, but couldn't reach him. After a while, a doctor came out. A middle-aged woman with a name tag that read Dr. Patel. Are you Mrs. Miller's family? Yes. Her daughter-in-law. The doctor led me to a private room. And then told me something unbelievable. Mrs. Gloria has terminal pancreatic cancer. My mind went blank. How long does she have? My voice was shaking. Probably about 3 months. She was diagnosed 6 months ago. 6 months ago. Yes. However, she asked us not to tell her family. Why? Why didn't she tell anyone? Tears overflowed from my eyes. Can I see her? She's conscious now, but quite weak. Please keep it brief. When I entered the room, Gloria was lying in bed. She looked like a different person from a week ago. Her cheeks were sunken, with deep shadows under her eyes. But her eyes alone were looking at me. Gloria. I took her hand. It was surprisingly cold and thin. Nicole. Gloria's voice was hoarse. You came. Why didn't you tell anyone? Gloria smiled weakly. I couldn't. Ryan would worry. And I didn't want to leave Ethan. I noticed an old diary on the bedside table. Gloria noticed my gaze and nodded slightly. Read it. It's all written there. With trembling hands, I opened the diary. On the first page, Gloria's neat handwriting was lined up. Ryan is having an affair. I found out the other woman is pregnant. He's planning to divorce. My heart froze. I read on. Nicole doesn't know anything. Poor thing. She's a much better person than my son. But as a mother, I tried to protect my son. That was a mistake. I was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. I don't have long. But I don't want to leave Ethan. So I go to see his face in the middle of the night. When I look at his sleeping face, dying becomes a little less frightening. Tears blurred the words. I turn to the next page. I want to tell Nicole. But I can't. How do I tell her that my son is betraying her? She's too kind. I don't want to hurt her. But she has a right to know the truth. And then, the last page. She asked me about the bruise. That was Ryan. When Ethan doesn't obey, he raises his hand to him. I've stopped him many times. But I couldn't tell Nicole. I tried to protect my son. As a mother, I was wrong. Nicole, I'm sorry. The diary slipped from my hands. I fell to my knees by Gloria's bed and cried out loud. Why didn't you tell me anything? I didn't want to hurt you. Tears glistened in Gloria's eyes too. But I didn't want to leave Ethan. I was selfish. No. I wrapped Gloria's hand in both of mine. You've been trying to protect us all along, haven't you? Gloria quietly shed tears. Please come back. I pleaded. Please stay with Ethan. Please. Gloria squeezed my hand back. Thank you. But before that, there's something you need to know. Gloria took out a small USB drive from the bedside drawer. It's data from Ryan's phone. I secretly copied it while he was in the shower. All the evidence is on it. I took the USB drive. Messages with his mistress, divorce plans, how to hide assets, and Gloria's voice trembled. Videos of violence against Ethan. He recorded them himself and sent them to his mistress. Laughing, saying it was discipline. I felt nauseous. Was this the man I'd married? Nicole, protect yourself and Ethan. I don't have long. But I want you both to be happy. And I want to hold Ethan one more time. If I can go home. Please come back. We'll be waiting. That night, I went home and checked the contents of the USB drive. There was a year's worth of affair records, plans to avoid property division after divorce, and most shockingly, videos of him hitting Ethan. My son's crying. Ryan's laughter. It's discipline, just discipline. My wife spoils him, you know. Ryan in the video was explaining this to his mistress. With shaking hands, I called a lawyer. The next day, I visited a law office with all the evidence. The lawyer looked at the evidence and said with a serious expression, "With this much evidence, you'll win custody and all the assets. Since there's evidence of child abuse, you should report it to the police too." I nodded. I didn't hesitate anymore. Protect my son. And protect Gloria. That was my mission. When I returned to the hospital room, Gloria was sleeping. I gently held her hand. "Gloria, thank you. You're true family." Gloria's fingers moved slightly. Maybe she could hear me. Outside the window, the sun was setting. After a long darkness, I felt like I could finally see light. The divorce proceedings were settled in 3 months. Ryan's lawyer desperately argued, but the evidence was overwhelming. Messages with his mistress, plans to hide assets, and most of all, videos of abuse against Ethan. The judge looked at Ryan with a stern expression. I got full custody. Ryan's visitation rights were even restricted. Child support and alimony totaled $150,000. Ryan's face was beet red in court, but I didn't feel anything anymore. Just relief that I'd protected my son. Ryan remarried his mistress. But the happiness didn't last long. Shortly after the wedding, the woman learned Ryan's true nature. The fact of abuse against Ethan, and the fear that she might face the same fate. 6 months later, she filed for divorce. Ryan went through his second divorce and now lives alone in a small apartment, apparently. He was no longer relevant to us. Gloria was discharged from the hospital and came to live with us. The day Gloria came home, Ethan cried and hugged her at the entrance. "Grandma, stay with us forever." Yes, forever. Gloria's body grew weaker day by day, but her heart was at peace. Her greatest joy was the time she spent on the living room sofa reading picture books with Ethan. One day, Ethan asked Gloria, "Grandma, why did you come to my room at night?" Gloria smiled gently. "When I looked at your face, Grandma felt safe. When I saw you sleeping so happily, I could forget the scary things." Scary things? Adults have scary things too. But your smile saved Grandma. Ethan hugged Gloria. As I watched, my eyes grew hot. Gloria passed away on a spring morning. With soft sunlight streaming through the window, she quietly took her last breath. Ethan and I were holding her hands from both sides. Until the very end, Gloria was smiling. "Thank you." Those were Gloria's last words. "For being my family." Many people came to the funeral. My colleague Diane, Dr. Patel, and Gloria's old friends. Everyone spoke of Gloria's kindness. That night, Ethan asked, "Mom, what is family?" I hugged my son close. It's not about blood. Family is someone who wants to protect you, who wants to be with you. Grandma was true family. Where is Grandma now? She's always beside you. You can't see her, but she's always watching over you. We hung Gloria's photo in the living room. Gloria's face smiling gently. Next to it, we hung a picture Ethan had drawn. A picture of him holding hands with Grandma. Every night before bed, Ethan waves to the photo. "Good night, Grandma. I was a good boy today." I watch him and think of Gloria. The reason she came to my son's room in the middle of the night. It wasn't abuse, it was love. While fighting the fear of death, she looked at her grandson's sleeping face and found courage. And she tried to protect my son and me until the very end. One night, I looked in on Ethan's room. My son was sleeping peacefully. I sat by the bed and gently kissed his forehead. "Mommy will protect you," I promised Grandma. Outside the window, stars were twinkling. One of them seemed to shine brighter than usual. Maybe Gloria was watching over us. I smiled. No matter what difficulties lie ahead, we'll be all right. Because we learned the meaning of true family. Bonds formed not by blood, but by love. That's stronger than anything. Gloria taught me. The most important thing is to protect and love those who are with you. I quietly left the room and returned to the living room. I whispered softly to Gloria's photo. "Good night, Gloria." In the photo, Gloria was smiling gently, as always.